Hey guys, it's John from Album Review TV. Time for a review of the 8th studio album by Trent Reznor-fronted band 9 Inch Nails titled Hesitation Marks. Hesitation marks, like the kind of, bit of resistance you have before self-inflicting harm on oneself with a razor. If you didn't know, that was something that I actually had to look up myself, so don't feel too dumb. Trent Reznor's back. It's been the first album in 5 years from 9 Inch Nails, first major label album since 2007's Year Zero, and then there was the slip in '08, and Reznor took time off to do side projects like How to Destroy Angels with his wife, Atticus Ross, and of course Rob Sheridan as well. And coming back to 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor has definitely gone the way of the synth. And 9 Inch Nails really does struggle to find their own identity throughout Hesitation Marks. Many of the tracks could easily be confused from something from Reznor's side project, How to Destroy Angels, honestly, with the bumping synths and just kind of the airy style that many of these songs on this album in particular bring. Progression is one thing, but don't just be a copy of a copy of a copy. No, I don't think Reznor is ripping himself off, because that's impossible. But I will say that his creativity is nowhere near as innovative or groundbreaking as it used to be with such amazing albums as The Downward Spiral. Let's go ahead and go through Hesitation Marks track by track, starting with the intro song, The Eater of Dreams. It's not the most exciting intro, but it does get the job done, ushering in the record, I should say, and then we get to Copy of a, and that's what I was referencing a minute ago if you didn't catch that. It's one of the more interesting tracks and one of the more well done tracks on the record. Musically and lyrically, it's smart. Reznor seems as sharp as ever when penning this song. The drum machines, the dark synths kind of flood this track. The sharp industrial feels kind of work their way in as we get further and further into this track, and it's definitely one of my favorites overall on Hesitation Marks. Then we get to Came Back Haunted, which was the first single released off of this album. Copy of It was the second one. It was kind of released for free download, but Came Back Haunted I think is the only official single so far. It was pretty successful on the alternative and the rock songs chart, and it's a track that I fully enjoyed from the first time I heard it, honestly. Yes, it's not the best 9 Inch Nails song by any means, but it's the perfect comeback single for the band. Haunted sees Reznor in one of his classic writing moods, creating a dark, synth-filled feel throughout this track, and this modern day With Teeth, or possibly even a B-side from that record. Reznor states that I'm not who I used to be, and that is quite obvious on this album and even this song, and we just have to accept that he's in a totally different place, a totally different state of mind when writing this song and even this entire record, and we can never expect him to keep turning out replicas of his older materials. P.S. The use of guitar on this track is greatly appreciated, as it's lacking so much on this album in many places. Find My Way calls to mind those How to Destroy Angels sounds that I was speaking of, something we get an overdose of here on Hesitation Marks. The darkness echoes throughout this track, an atmosphere and feeling that only really Reznor can create. One of the standout tracks on the record, but then again, how much is that really saying? Disappointed starts off with this bounce clap scenario. We're moving on to the next track here. It leads into those bumpy synths and light background vocals. They come full circle later on, but they kind of start off as a whisper. There's a nice build up to it and release within the song, but overall it feels kind of like a letdown. And the next track, Everything, is the one that I'm sure everyone's wondering what I think about it, because it's gotten so much hate and generated so much hate online. Yeah, Trent Reznor has the full creative freedom to make whatever he wants to, but Everything, just look at the title of the last song that we just talked about. That's how I feel about that song. Since when is 9 Inch Nails upbeat and, dare I say, poppy? Don't listen to the track if you think you're going to get offended by it. If you want to keep your full respect for the old, I guess, Trent Reznor and 9 Inch Nails intact, then I'd recommend skipping Everything. Satellite sounds like the start of a Jesse McCartney song, just for a few seconds at the start. I'm sorry, but there's nothing else I can really compare it to. That's just what I hear in my mind when I'm listening. Some heavy synths kind of flush in and fill out the direction of this song. Some guitars find their way in, adding a lot of extra texture to Trent's vocals as he sings Satellite, I'm watching you, I'm one step ahead of you. The track gets a little repetitive, as do many Nine Inch Nails songs, but that's what we, have come to know and respect, and especially when they can do it in a really interesting way that really keeps the song moving forward. And when they take shape in such an interesting way, as with the song Satellite, it makes for a very satisfying listen. The next track is called Various Methods of Escape. It tries out a lot of new instrumentation and sounds, and it isn't exactly, the best song in terms of structuring, but it does work in a lot of ways for me. I like the guitar progression personally. That's something that I really enjoy, as well as some of the background noises, but some of the background sounds and parts of this song don't really feel like they fit. However, I really do enjoy the lyrical content on this song. It's very self-reflective for Trent, a place to bury everything I did and burn it to the ground. I really, really enjoy that line right there. It's one of my favorites on the entire record. The song has grown on me a little more with each listen. Running is the next track on the record, and it's definitely the right title for this song. The synths kind of bounce and bump all over the place and run a little bit out of control at times. Honestly, it gets a little bit too much at times, but at the same time, I like it. I like the energy and passion that this song kind of brings. It's lacking from a lot of tracks on this record, and it's something that's really nice to see. It's a nice little surprise that he stuck closer to the end of the record. I Would For You was a misfire in my opinion, and there's really nothing that I have to say. It really doesn't do anything for me, so there's really no point in further discussing it, in my opinion. N2 finally sees Nine Inch Nails firing on all cylinders, and it's so good to see. Anger, synths, industrial grinds, solid guitars, and even some vocoded vocals. It's got a little bit of everything to offer for any kind of fan of Nine Inch Nails. The song fades out to a whisper kind of in the middle of the track as Reznor repeats, "I just don't know anymore." The guitars gradually get a little bit louder. His voice, it becomes less and less audible under the noise, and it finally breaks into this instrumental break that it's truly one of the greatest moments on the album, and it just closes out on such a high note. While I'm Still Here starts abruptly after N2 closes on such a high note that I was talking about. The track opens with more of those bumpy and spaced out synths that I've grown oh so tired of by this point in the album. It's really starting to get on my nerves because the track's it truly struggles to make itself stand out from many of the songs on this record. I do like the way he chose some brass instruments to fade the song into the final track, Black Noise, which is a really dark and sinister feeling instrumental that continues the style of While I'm Still Here. The overall product of this album feels like a watered down and mellowed out Nine Inch Nails. Is it good to see them back? Sure, but sometimes it's just best to let things go as they were. It's no secret that the recent albums that Reznor's been a part of, it kind of gave away what his new style would probably be influenced by, at least with Nine Inch Nails, that is. And the band is, they're kind of far from their glory days already. With Teeth is the last album from the band that I can honestly say that I fully enjoyed. This album, Hesitation Marks, is a 3 out of 5 from me. It's got a few standout tracks and a lot of songs that just fail to launch. What did you think of Hesitation Marks? Let me know in the comments section down below. I'd be interested to hear what you guys thought. Make sure you hit the like button, share the video with a friend, and let me know what I should review next. I'm taking requests. There's a lot of albums coming out in the next month, so make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon right here on Album Review TV.